Just because the news came out, you guys are focusing on Snowman Logistics, but think about this from a different perspective. There are a lot of different stocks that actually benefit from the vaccine announcement. We've understood how a small lab in China created the coronavirus, which gave such a big impact to the entire world. All the stock prices went down, everything went down. Now we've come back to a circle where we've finally found a cure. But we know for a fact that the vaccines have started coming out. That means we're on the road to recovery. Now, if these vaccines have started coming out, let's start tracking which stocks can actually go up and go down, or which stocks have an advantage with the vaccine coming out. Because we've seen that during the coronavirus period, if you track the market, you would have seen that the pharma stocks had a very good rally. They went up really fast. Obviously, because that was the only sector that was trending during the coronavirus pandemic. But if you look at all the construction stocks, the real estate stock, the cement, airline industry, travel industry, all these stocks were completely down, right? Because obviously there's no one going out, this coronavirus going on, pandemic, etc. Since we know all the information, let's see how we can connect the dots. First thing, you should understand that as soon as the news came out, SENSEX, right? Obviously, after the Morat trading, Diwali, we were all going up. SENSEX reached an all-time high, etc. But as soon as the news came out over the weekend, we all knew for a fact that today SENSEX would go up, and it did go up, right? And SENSEX had reached an all-time high only because of the vaccine hopes that have come up in the market. Now, because of this, all the stocks have gone up, including NASDAQ, even the global indices. If you look at all the global indices, everything will go up because now it gives a sigh of relief to people that business will go back to normal and no other company might go bankrupt because of this. Okay, so SENSEX went up. I think it hit around 44,000, which is, by the way, the highest that SENSEX has gone. Now, let's look at some shares in the US, because I'm not going to focus only on India. I'm going to teach you how to connect the dots all over the world. Don't just look at stocks in India or companies in India. Try to connect it from a global perspective, because if you do that, you will understand how Indian markets work as well. So earlier this year in April, we saw that Zoom had around 10 million daily users in December. That's it, right? As soon as the coronavirus pandemic hit, the app went from 10 million daily users to 200 million daily users by March itself. As soon as the vaccine announcement came out, instantly Zoom shares started falling by 15%. Now you would say, oh my God, that is really bad that Zoom, just fell by 15%, loss to so many people. But it's actually not a loss, because when the COVID announcement came out earlier on in March, Zoom price went up by 680%, right? And now if it's fallen by 15%, even if it goes down by 100% more, it doesn't matter, because the investors have made their money that, when they had invested in Zoom. So funny thing to look out how a video conferencing app gets affected by a vaccine. This is something that you guys all know. MakeMyTrip is apparently it's actually a company listed in the States. It's not listed in India. It's a company listed in NASDAQ, right? And it's apparently one of the biggest companies that are listed in NASDAQ. As soon as the coronavirus vaccine came out, MakeMyTrip shares started going up. All the articles of the CEO posing in front of a flight or a balloon, I'm not sure what that is, but all that has come out instantly. And the reason being, what people are predicting now, that since the vaccine has come out, the travel industry, including the housing, hospitality and the air aviation is all going to come back to normal. And Indian Aviation Minister also put out an article saying that he is hopeful that the air travel will go back to pre-COVID levels in India by early January. I'm not quite sure if that is true. That can only be possible if all the vaccines are delivered to every individual out there. But funny thing to see how Moderna and Pfizer news has given MakeMyTrip a share price jump. So that is very important to look at. Now, we come to the next slide, which obviously all of you all have been putting it in the chat quite often, is Snowman Logistics, right? Now, the reason why a lot of people were talking about Snowman Logistics is because two things. One, the CEO was very smart. As soon as Pfizer came out with their announcement, Pfizer has not made any tie-up with Snowman, by the way, till now, nothing officially. But as soon as Pfizer said, we have released a vaccine and we need minus 70 degrees temperature, right? The CEO of Snowman came out immediately online. He even came on the news channels and said, I am the only logistics provider in India who can deliver vaccines at minus 70 degrees, right? Now, is that a genius move or what? I have no clue. But because of that, the stock price today has gone up by 10%. Yesterday, it was up by 14%. So if you look at the chart, it's just a 5-day chart that I've put on there. But you will see that it has gone up from 40 rupees on November 12th to around 60 rupees right now, which is a massive jump. Okay, you would have made a lot of money if that happened. What I thought was today, as soon as Moderna's news came out, that they said that we don't require minus 70 degrees. Would it be safe to assume that then the Snowman Logistics shares would obviously go down, because now they don't need that kind of temperature, and maybe other people also don't need that kind of temperature? Funny enough, it didn't go down, it went up by another 10% today. right? So that's why I say you can never ever predict the stock market, how the consumer sentiments are moving, but you do your research and understand how this works. Because if India does get Pfizer vaccines in India, then they have to use Snowman Logistics. But I don't think Snowman Logistics will be the only company, because if I'm a logistics company like Gati or TCI and I know that Pfizer is coming in, I will definitely just buy refrigerator trucks and start my last mile delivery again, even to take a small portion of revenue from Snowman Logistics itself. And I keep telling you guys, don't just look at one thing. Don't just look at, say for example, Snowman Logistics, which is a logistics company. Just because the news came out, you guys are focusing on Snowman Logistics. But think about this from a different perspective. There are a lot of different stocks that actually benefit from the vaccine announcement. Now, quite obvious, hospitality industry has to go up. Now, as soon as the coronavirus pandemic vaccines will come out, everything will go back to normal. So there are two companies in India which are called Indian Hotels, okay, and Lemon Tree. Both of them shot up in the last 5 days and started going up 4%, 7%. Because obviously when the pandemic is over, staying goes back to normal, and even ITC, for example, which owns the Taj properties, they'll all start going back up very soon. So if you think there's another kind of hospitality sector that has not already gone up like the way this is going up, that is something that is good to track right now. But think about it from this perspective. All these companies have gone to an all-time low because of the pandemic. Their revenues are really bad. And as soon as this is done, you will see that they will slowly start going up again back to pre-COVID times. So that is not going to happen in a day or two. It's gone up right now, but doesn't mean it will go up, every other day. You will see that slowly after every quarter when the results are announced, you will see that these stocks go back to pre-COVID levels. Hopefully, I'm assuming by March quarter, most of the stocks should come back to its original levels. There's one more sector which we all track closely, especially in my Pro League. We track this sector very closely because we knew for a fact as soon as coronavirus hit, this sector took a massive hit, and that was the airline sector. Now, if you remember when COVID happened, Warren Buffett was the first guy to actually go and dump all his airline stocks at that point. He sold each and every airline stock that he had because he told at that point, and I clearly remember he said that I'm going to sell all the stocks right now and I will buy it back once it actually starts recovering again, because no one knows how the airline stocks would survive this, because they're a very high capex as in capital expenditure. You have to put a lot of money to run that business. So they were a very high capex business, right? But as soon as this happened, you will see that not only India, but even Asia Pacific, all the stocks in Singapore, Malaysia, China, Hong Kong, all these, different kind of countries, all their airline stocks started going up. Because what happens is, if the vaccine's actually done, if the vaccine's created, forget domestic travel, you will see international travel coming back to its normal places, right? And you can now start going back to your vacations and planning your vacations again. So airline stocks suddenly saw a jump. If you look at SpiceJet today itself, SpiceJet went up by around 7% just today, and in the last, I think, 5 days, it's gone up much more than that, right? So it's very interesting, and it's very nice to look at how macroeconomic plays affect India. And a lot of us, when we look at a news article, we get this notification on Economic Times or everything else. We get a notification saying, hey, a new vaccine has come out, Moderna has come out, Pfizer has come out. None of us actually click on that, go into it and read it. This is a very big mistake a lot of us do. We look at the notification headline saying the vaccines come out and we're very happy about it. But if you actually went inside, you would see that Moderna has different storage capacity, whereas Pfizer has different storage capacity. And after that, you need to start using your curious side of your mind by saying, okay, if the vaccines come out, who else is going to benefit? So if you thought about this over the weekend, when Moderna's vaccine came out, if you thought about which sector would go up today, and the sectors that I've showed you today is not something that you wouldn't have figured out by yourself. It is quite obvious that the hospitality industry would go up. It is quite obvious that the airline stocks would jump, the cement stocks would jump, all the construction stocks would jump. It is quite obvious, right? So if you could connect the dots over the weekend, the long weekend that we had for Diwali, instead of eating that extra laddu, you could have actually figured out how to make a lot of money today. Okay, now don't send me laddus and don't quote me on that laddu, but you would have actually made a lot of money. And if you look at SpiceJet, if you look at the other stocks, you would have easily made 10 to 15% today, right? So it's all about connecting the dots, and the person who connects these dots actually win. And I think this is what we do very closely in the Pro League, because I know a lot of my students in the Pro League connect the dots a lot. And even on the Discord channel, I saw a lot of people connecting the dots as well.